Frida Kahlo Museum. Hi, today we are talking about our experience in Diego and Frida's house. As you can see, Diego and Frida live in this house for 25 years. Here you can find many people foreign, so this is a good experience if you speak other languages. It was really an interesting trip, full of knowledge, of course. Paintings. Into the house we saw different paintings of Frida, but the best was this composition of New York, unfinished 1933, oil on canvas. Frida and photography. The regime led by General Porfirias engaged Guillermo Kahlo, Frida's father, as its official photographer of Mexican architectural and monumental heritage. Following the Revolution of 1910, he found himself obligated to open his own studio. Because he suffered from epilepsy, Frida would accompany him in the darkroom as a girl so that she could help out if necessary. Fully understanding the artist's value of photography, Frida learned at an early age how to pose for the camera. Frida collected over 6,000 photographs. She used some of these images as reference in her own artwork. She deliberately made photography part of her life and her artistic legacy. The intact collection. We can appreciate the different materials that Diego used to draw. For example, paints, brushes, and frames. Day and night bedrooms. In the bedroom that Frida used during the daytime, one can see a photograph of herself painting on the mirror that her mother had put above the bed after the artist's accident. On the bedspread rests her dead mask. Frida Kahlo's wardrobe. In this area we could appreciate the gallery of dresses that Frida used, accompanied of course by a Mexican style. Rooms of Frida's house. Some areas were a bit restricted for authenticity, so we were able to rescue interesting elements of this house. For example, in this room there are different belongings in good condition of wood artists, Diego and Frida, as well as excellent works that are available in them.
Disability of Frida Kahlo. In this space, there were some clothes that Frida used during her disability. This, thanks to the accident she had during her youth. This was what caught our attention the most since she was able to rehabilitate herself and at the same time apply what she liked so much. Clothes and accessories collection. These are of the many belongings of Frida Kahlo that we can enjoy, since they are considered heritage for being good piece of Mexican clothing. Universum Museum. Evolution of the brain. In this museum, we had the opportunity to choose a museum room to explore the amazing facts. So we decided to see the evolution of the brain because it looks interesting to use, and the explanation was the next. At first, there were only a few neurons. These then grouped together to form ganglia. Later, they were organized into neural networks and systems connected to receivers and transmitters. What allowed this the evolves into elementary brains, photobrains, and finally, the brains of greater complexity, favoring the adaptation and survival of the individual in a changing environment over time. The composition of the brain. There was an exhibition that we consider was the most attractive in the place. The exhibition of the brain in which we can explore each particle that makes it up. So well, enjoy the video. During this period of time happened a lot of things in the war. For example, in 1929 to the so-called Great Depression originate in the United States, starting with the crash of the New York stock market on Tuesday, October 29, 1929, and quickly spread to almost every country in the world. 1933, in Germany, Hitler is chancellor. Following several backrooms negations, which include industrialist Hindenburg's son, the former Chancellor Franz von Papen, and Hitler, Hindenburg acceded and on 30 January 1933, he formally appointed Adolf Hitler as Germany's new chancellor. 1936, the Spanish Civil War begins. Spanish Civil War 1936 to 39, military revolt against the Republican government of Spain, supported by creative elements with the country. 1939, World War II begins. World War II was conflict between 1939 and 1945 that involved all the world's major countries. It was the most destructive war in history and millions of people were killed. 1940, Japan attacks Pearl Harbor, base of the United States fleet in the Pacific. 1944, Operation Overlord, the Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy. The D-Day operation of June 6, 1944, brought together the land, air and sea forces of the Allied armies in what became known as the largest invasion force in human history.
That's all. See you in the next adventure.